Welcome to Flavor Flex, good food, good mood, where it's all about having a great time in the kitchen and on the football field. Because you know it's that time of year, one of my favorite times of the year, when the sky is blue like the jersey of my favorite college team. And it reminds me of going and watching the game with 100,000 of your closest friends. And before the game, you're out in the tailgate having a great old time with some great tailgate food. Or even when you're at home watching it, you put out a little spread with some wings and nachos and a dip or two. And wait a minute, you've never had this dip probably, and you're gonna love this dip because it's made with sweet corn, flavors, hot honey candy, bacon, and lots of cheese. How can you go wrong with cheese and bacon and sweet corn? Bacon corn dip. Are you ready to cook, and are you ready for some football? So let's go. You want to start with 12 slices of bacon, and you want to do this is how I did it. Use Flavor Flex hot honey candy bacon. That recipe is on the website. Look it up, check it out. Make your bacon that way because it adds just a little bit of touch to it, flavors it up some. So that's 12 slices of bacon. We got about 3 cups of, I use Monterey Jack cheese. You can use mozzarella. You can use any cheese that you prefer. 3 green onions sliced. 2 cloves of garlic diced, fresh garlic. 3/4 of a cup of one of my other all-time favorite things, hot pepper jelly. This one happens to be raspberry pepper jelly. So you want to do that at the end, and you're also going to use some butter crackers. These are butter garlic crackers that we're going to smash up for the top. And you can use a couple of jalapenos. I'm using pepperoncini. I just kind of like the way they are, pickled kind of thing. Chop those up, a couple of those, like 3 of those, 3 or 4 of those little pepperoncini. And then here's sweet corn. And what you want to do is slice that off the cob. And if you don't want to go this route, you can use frozen corn, canned corn. And that's going to be about 2.5 to 3 cups. Just take your knife, run it down the cob of corn, get the corn off the cob, and then what I do after that's done, we'll just take your knife, and just kind of chop up the corn so it gets into little pieces. And let's throw this on the plate with the other corn and meet me at the stove. Get it cooking. So to a cast iron skillet, I have about a teaspoon and a half of the bacon that had rendered off in the oven. The bacon grease, give it a little bit of flavor and also to keep things from sticking. And to that hot pan, we're going to add our 2 cloves of fresh garlic that's been diced. And our pepperoncini, or if you want to use jalapenos or some other pepper, if you like it really hot, you can go with an habanero or whatever kind of pepper you really love. I like things a little bit on the milder side, a little bit of heat, but a little bit on the milder side. And with the hot pepper jelly, we're going to have some heat there. So you're going to want to cook that for about 5 minutes or so. Get it nice and fragrant. After a few minutes, you can kind of smell that garlic getting nice and fragrant. We're going to add in our corn. Now you're going to want to cook that for about 4 or 5 minutes until it gets a nice looking golden brown or a little bit charred even. Almost like a grilled kind of effect on it. So spread that out in the pan. Let that heat get to it and char it up a little bit with the garlic and those peppers or the pepperoncinis. A medium to high heat. I don't know if you can see, but the corn, you can start to see it kind of getting brown and getting charred. It's smelling really good. So let's add our cheeses and our mayonnaise. First, we're going to put in the 1.5 or 12 ounces of cream cheese. Kind of break that up, but that should eventually melt down. And the 3/4 cup of mayonnaise. which I usually Duke's, but you can use any mayonnaise of your choice, of course. Whatever you got in the cupboard, in the refrigerator. You can turn that heat down to a low. Also, with our cheese, I took out about a cup of the cheese. Of the 3 cups, I took out about a cup of it for the top. So you can put the other 2 cups in now. Get that melt it up. Look at that. Woo, doesn't that look good already? Cheese is melting up. It's getting all mixed in, getting nice and melted. Now, after that's all kind of mixed and melted pretty good, now let's throw in our 3 green onions that have been sliced. Mix those in. Okay. And lastly, the candied honey bacon, or just regular bacon if you didn't want to go through that process of adding a little bit of hot honey or regular honey and some brown sugar. The recipe is on our channel. I'm going to put in about half of it, maybe 3/4 of it. I'm going to keep that for the top. Sprinkle on the top with the crushed crackers and the hot pepper jelly. Best part. All right, so that's all stirred up. Meet me back at the counter and we'll get it in the casserole and get it finished. Let's get it in the casserole dish. I'm just using this square casserole dish. You can use a 9x13 if you're going to use the whole thing. I'm going to actually make 2 of these smaller ones for 2 little parties. So what we want to do is scoop about half of that out. Get it in your casserole dish. We'll save the other half for the other one. What we're going to do is take our butter flavored crackers, in this case they're garlic butter crackers, and you're just going to crush them. I'm going to sprinkle out on top of that dip. Pepper jelly, and I heat it up in the microwave a little bit. You can even heat it all the way up until it's melted, but I'm going to spread a little bit of that on, and then take a brush or your spoon and just spread that out. Take half of your leftover cheese and sprinkle that on top with half of your hot honey candy bacon. Some of my favorite things right there. Hot pepper jelly and some hot honey candied bacon. Now let's get this in the oven. And all you really have to do is just broil it until the cheese melts. Get right back. It's not going to take long. Pop in the oven, under broil. As soon as that cheese melts, let's get back and do some digging. Woo! Okay, you know what time it is. My favorite time. It's time to taste. And would you, still a little warm. Would you look at that? How beautiful and delicious it looks. Let's scoop some out. I like to use these Frito scoopable corn chips because they're big and they're heavy duty and they'll hold up to the corn and everything's in it. Now all means any corn tortilla chip will work. So let's get a scoop. Let's probably scoop out this. Let's get a little bit of a dip and put right in there. Whoops, where'd that bacon go? Put that there. That's more like it. Here we go. Seriously, this is one of my absolute favorite dips. It is packed full of flavor. Your taste buds are going to slap you in the brain. Wow. So let me hear you say, here's the good food, good mood, good family, and good friends, and good football. Let's go. Flavor Flex.
Good food, good mood.